and will go directly to the reading of the declaration of the establishment of People's Alliance for Freedom and Just Democracy. The Benishangul People's Liberation Movement, BPLM, Gambela People's Liberation Movement, GPLM, Ogaden National Liberation Front, ONLF, Oromo Liberation Front, ONLF, and Sidama National Liberation Front. Considering the grave injustice and oppression perpetrated by the current regime in Ethiopia, concerned by the massive propaganda campaign undertaken by the Ethiopian government intended to deceive the peoples in Ethiopia and the international community in order to legitimize the continue its dictatorial and repressive rule rather, cognizant of the need for a united effort among the oppressed peoples in Ethiopia to put an end to the unremitting cruel repression perpetrated by successive and current regimes of the empire, taking into account the current lack of political vision by some opposition groups in Ethiopia to embrace the political and social changes that Ethiopia has undergone over the last 50 years as a result of the heavy prices paid by the nations in Ethiopia for the right of self-determination and rejecting their archaic adherence to political precepts to no longer tenable in the 21st century, such as negating the rights of nations in Ethiopia to self-determination. Categorically emphasizing that our people who fought and still continue fighting with their blood against successive oppressive regimes in Ethiopia will never give up on their fruits of their struggle and allow reversal of their historic gains for the right of self-determination. Have formed the Political Alliance for Freedom and Democracy, PAFD, which will foster the favorable conditions that will bring an opportunity for all the peoples in Ethiopia to co-create a political order that will practically allow all to exercise genuine democratic rights, including the right to self-determination. Therefore, the People's Alliance for Freedom and Democracy, PAFD, will strive through the people's power to dismantle the outmoded hegemonic culture of a single group dominating the rest and will establish a new, just political order. To establish a political order that drives its legal authorities through effective, democratically elected organs and legal processes that are based on pluralist consensus and genuine universal suffrage, where relationships are established through impartial and authentic exercise of self-determination, where both individual and people's rights are fully respected. 3. Endeavor to achieve a peaceful and orderly transfer of power to the peoples in Ethiopia by engaging representatives of all the different nations and peoples and other stakeholders committed to genuine democracy in Ethiopia. Number 4, guarantee that all changes, arrangements and configurations that are intended to end the current conflicts in Ethiopia must be based on the will and consent of each and every nations and peoples in the Ethiopian Empire State. Finally, the People's Alliance for Freedom and Democracy calls upon all concerned parties, including the current government of Ethiopia, the representatives of all nations and peoples in Ethiopia, with the facilitation of the international community, to seize this opportunity and hold a comprehensive conference to create a broader roadmap to thereby resolve the enormous problems confronting the Ethiopian Empire State. PAFD also calls the international community to respect the wishes, desires, and rights of all the nations and peoples in Ethiopia in their engagements, and understand that all status quo is untenable and it is a recipe for a simmering disaster that will end in catastrophe unless remedied in opportune time. People's Alliance for Freedom and Democracy, Oslo, Norway, October 23rd, 2015.